I wanted to do something kind of Halloweenish, and thus I decided to do Catty-tastic's Creatures of the Night book tag. Basically, the idea of the tag is to match up various creatures of the night with our favorite books containing said creatures. And because I really like dressing up for Halloween but rarely go anywhere, I decided to go ahead and do this tag wearing my Morgana-inspired costume. Probably could have done a Gwen costume if I was going to go Merlin with it, but let's face it, Morgana is scarier. Let's go on with the tag, shall we? The first creature is vampire, and I have decided to go with one of my favorite vampire books, and probably one of the first vampire books I ever read, Interview with the Vampire. The story is basically this vampire named Louis decides to tell this young man his story, his history. It is also the basis of a really flipping awesome movie, which I highly suggest checking out as well. It is part of the Vampire Chronicles series. I didn't feel the need to read after the third book because I just liked how the third book ended. Would love to get the collector's edition I think they have at Barnes & Noble. I don't have any of these books anymore, and I would like to have them in hardcover because, yeah. Next creature is Werewolf, and I decided to go with Cycle of the Werewolf. This is about a brother and sister who have to sort of figure out how to deal with the fact that there is a werewolf attacking their town. What I like about this is that it is a story about siblings. It's a really cool thing to see how they develop and how their relationship changes throughout the story. I also like that this is a book where the werewolf is genuinely the bad guy, the evil guy. As you know, it's gotten more of a thing where paranormal romances come in with vampire and werewolf stories, that we've lost the fact that, you know, sometimes these creatures can be just total monsters. The movie that is based on this book is called Silver Bullet. If you want to watch it, I really like it. It was made in the 80s, and maybe the special effects for like the werewolf stuff wasn't like the best thing ever. It's still a really fun, excellent movie in my opinion. Next, we have Zombie. And I, like everyone and their mother, have only, in terms of novel form, read Warm Bodies, but Warm Bodies would probably be one of my favorite zombie novels, even if it wasn't the only one that I'd read, because I love the story between R, who really is a zombie that wants to connect, and Julie, who is this human, and how they change each other's lives. They're probably one of my favorite literary couples. Film is equally as awesome as the novel, but the book is a tiny bit darker, but it's not so dark that it like loses all of the comedic elements that we all love in the movie, so they're still equally as good. But in terms of other zombie things that maybe aren't totally novel, I love the Walking Dead comic, or what I've read of it so far. So I don't watch the TV series because there's just so many TV shows and so little time. But I will get to it eventually. I've read about 4 of like the collected editions of Walking Dead, and every time I buy a new one, I have to set aside like 2 hours just to like read the entire thing in one sitting because it's that flipping awesome. So Walking Dead is another alternative to zombieism to read. So for Ghost, I decided to go with a maybe not very traditional story for this, but equally is kind of ghosty, and I decided to go with The Lovely Bones. This is the story of a girl who is murdered, and she thus, because she's murdered, has a hard time moving on to her afterlife, so she sort of stays around and hangs out seeing her parents deal with her death and seeing what's happening with her murderer and all these things that she kind of has to work through before she can move on. It is just a beautifully written book. It is just so heartfelt and wonderful, and I love it so much. And again, a book with a flipping awesome movie. Next we have Witch, Warlock, or Spellcaster. I'm not really big on books about witches and wizards when they're like, it's the sole subject matter. Like, I don't mind them as like side characters or whatever, but I don't really read many books that are witches or wizardy focused because that is just not my thing. I don't mind it in TV or movies, but I guess it's because when you live with a book, you live with a book for a while, and I don't really want to live in a witch wizard world. But I did think of a witch book that I did really enjoy. Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. I think why I like this would be, first of all, because it is a spin on a character that is normally considered evil, and it kind of explains why Elphaba, why she is the way she is, and why the world of Oz has so many different crazy things going on. So it's definitely a cool backstory. But also, it's very political. It's definitely more of a political drama than it being about spellcasting, which I think is what draws me in. Actually, The Wizard of Oz is kind of has some political symbolism, so it's kind of cool how that carried over into Wicked. I still need to read the sequels to Wicked, but I have seen the fabulous musical. It's definitely lighter than the book. Like, the book is kind of dark, and the musical is definitely lighter, but they're both as like separate entities. Awesome. I do like the Charmed TV series, and if you like Charmed, there is a Charmed season 9 comic. It's got the same humor and all like the same vibe of the characters, but it's in comic book form, and it's also cool because they work in Prue kind of in there, which is kind of fun, and I highly enjoyed them, so check that out as an option as well. Next we have fairies or fae. I haven't read a ton of fairy or fae books. I have read Midsummer Night's Dream, which I love, but that's actually a play. So I decided to go with a book on my to-be-read list, which is War of the Flowers by Tad Williams. My mom thinks that it's awesome. I'm sure that I will think it's awesome as well. So hopefully I will read it soon, and then I will have a new favorite fairies or fae book, Demons. And I decided to go with the first volume of the Sandman graphic novel series, which is Preludes and Nocturnes. In this, there are obviously a lot of creepifying journeys, but in this dream, our main character visits hell, and obviously that's where the demons live, and he also meets up with Lucifer in it, and insanity ensues. Sometimes Sandman can be too creepy for people, but I really like Sandman, so if you like a lot of creepifyingness, Sandman's the way to go. Angel, and I decided to go with the lighter side of angelness and pick a book that features a guardian angel, and that would be Calling for Angels. Now, this is a book that was published, I think, only in the UK, but I got a author's review copy because I used to be really active in blogging about books instead of making videos, and this was one of the ARC copies that I got, and it was a fabulous, cute book. I read it in like 2011, so I don't remember everything about it, but I remember really enjoying it. It had like a nice redemption story and a nice love story in it as well. The author started the book when she was 14, and she published it when she was 17. She just wrote a beautiful book for being so young when she wrote it. So, Calling for Angels is definitely fun. Aliens. So, my favorite would probably be The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I like it because it's got a body snatcher story, it's got action, it's got a love square. Love squares are so much more fun than love triangles, let me just tell you. And it's just emotional and wacky fun, and for some reason it makes me cry. I still haven't figured out why. Unlike some of the other books though, this doesn't have the most awesome movie ever, but it's not like truly heinous. So if you want to check out the movie, please do. But if you want sort of a more adventurous, less love squarey relationship kind of book, you can go with the fabulous adventure that was The Dangerous Days of Daniel X, which is about a young man whose parents have been murdered by an alien. He is also an alien, and he sort of has to fight off the evil villain. It has really short chapters. It also is just a fun, fast read. So if you want an adventure, this is also an option for alien. Last, we have super-powered humans. I thought I would pick a book with a character that has a really interesting superpower to me, and I decided to go with the first book in the Parasol Proctor series, Soulless, which I read recently. It is about a woman named Alexa, and she is a preternatural, which means she was born without a soul, and because of this condition, she can kind of nullify the powers or abilities of other supernatural creatures. So if she touches a werewolf or vampire, they will become human, and if she comes in contact with the ghost will be exorcised. Also, these books are steampunky and very hilarious. They're super funny. I'm reading the second book in the series, Changeless, so I'm really excited to see how it develops. Just a really cool world, and I really thought Alexa's power was interesting because it wasn't something that I'd read before. So my darlings, that is the end of the Creatures of the Night book tag. If you want to do this tag, please do, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye!